Hello, I am Old School Ben, and today we will be talking about a little game for the original PlayStation called Thrasher Presents Skate and Destroy, an often overlooked classic released in the shadow of a much more popular skateboarding game of the time, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Developed by Z-Axis, a studio that would aggressively push the concept of in-game physics, and published by Rockstar, a video game publisher that needs no introduction, Thrasher was released in North America in the fall of 2009. A mere month after the North American launch of Activision and Neversoft's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. While THPS gained critical acclaim and commercial success, it became apparent that the PlayStation was not big enough for two successful skateboarding franchises. Subsequently, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater enjoyed an equally, if not more successful sequel, whereas Thrasher, though hailed to be just a good game at the time, went on to be mostly neglected by gamers and eventually becoming another relic in the PlayStation's library. As suggested by the name, this game is presented by Thrasher Skateboard Magazine, a name that still holds a lot of weight in skateboarding. As one of skating's longest-running publications, it has seen the ups and downs of skateboarding as well as the rise of street skating in the early 90s. This is where Skate and Destroy fits in. An explorative time in American counterculture, the 1990s brought skateboarding out of the vert ranks and into the streets, where it melded seamlessly with hip-hop culture, becoming part of the culture itself. This game plays up the relationship between skateboarding and hip-hop through the means of the soundtrack, which features many keystone tracks from hip-hop's greatest MCs and rap groups: Sugar Hill Gang, Rakim and Eric B, EPMD, A Tribe Called Quest, Ultramagnetic MCs, Gangstar, Public Enemy, Africa Bambaataa and Soulsonic Force, Run DMC. The list goes on with hit after hit from contenders worthy of the title Greatest of All Time. The classic hip-hop score pairs beautifully with the grimy environments and really gives the game an authentic urban feel, from the piss-soaked streets of New York to the piss-soaked sand of Venice Beach. The pixelated graffiti is also a nice touch and adds to the game's inherent anti-establishment tone, but more on that in a moment. There is no story mode, but the in-game narrative suggests that you start off in your hometown as a no-name, nobody, and eventually grinding your way through city after city, making a name for yourself, working towards magazine cover shots, and eventually becoming Skater of the Year. Along your way, you will unlock new tricks and even choose clothing and skateboard sponsors. This is a nice touch that other skateboarding games on the PlayStation lack. Each of the characters in the game have their own strengths and weaknesses. Some are much faster and can take larger drops, while others are better suited towards grinding long rails, for example. Choosing your character will affect both your playstyle and how you interact with the skatable environments. It also offers much in replayability as each character plays slightly different. Each character has two main clothing styles that can be toggled in the equipment menu, and more clothes can be obtained depending on who you choose as your sponsor. Like I said, you will unlock tricks as you progress through the game, and though it's a bit frustrating for a veteran player to play through the game like this, it actually encourages you to learn the complex controls as a new player. See, the controls in this game are hard to explain. They're not difficult controls per se, they're tight and responsive. However, they play much differently than any other skating game to date. In fact, I would compare learning the controls in Skate and Destroy closer towards learning the moves in a fighting game. Unlike Tony Hawk, Grind Session, and the like, Thrasher Presents Skate and Destroy has a unique trick system that is much more akin to skateboarding itself than any other game of the time. I could go into a lot of detail trying to explain how this works exactly, but it's definitely something that has to be experienced in order to understand completely. The two difficulties are Normal and Expert. Though there isn't a huge difference between the two modes, Normal mode is a bit easier with flightier physics, great for beginners, but Expert mode steps it up even more for the most hardcore. Expert mode is in fact much more difficult due to realistic physics and higher scores needed to progress in the game. Expert mode also forces you to set up your landing by pressing square before you land. This significantly increases the technicality of an already technical game, and failure to do so will have you fall off your board like an incredible crash dummy. Expert mode is also the only way to obtain the true ending of the game by becoming Skater of the Year, and yes, it's one of those games that forces you to beat it twice. After playing through once and unlocking all of your tricks, you will have to do the same thing again with much more brutal scores to beat and the addition of magazine cover shots peppered into the levels. This adds a splash of variety to the game, especially if you are used to playing the game on the easier mode. Expert mode is really where you'll get your money's worth if you bought the game because of the intense difficulty, especially in the later levels of your second playthrough. The skatable levels in this game reflect versatility, which is a good thing considering the varied styles used by each of the playable skaters. If you skated in the 90s or are familiar with skate tapes from that era, you will recognize many of the spots recreated in the game. This is particularly nostalgic as many of these classic skate spots have since been demolished, leaving only their digital counterparts to forever haunt your PlayStation. Each level starts you in free skate mode, where you can skate freely with no time limit, allowing you to set your start point and explore the level. Pressing select activates the timer. All points made by doing tricks will now be counted towards your score. Much like real-life skateboarding, props are given for landing tricks first try, giving you extra points for your first attempt. Every time you land that same trick, fewer points are awarded. This not only forces you to attempt new tricks in lines, but also to go big when first attempting a trick. I like to think of Thrasher Skate and Destroy as a thinking man's skating game, as you will find yourself plotting your lines in advance rather than mashing buttons to accumulate points. There are two types of challenges in this game, skate sessions and competitions, though they both play the same with a few minor differences. In skate session levels, you must acquire the necessary points in the allotted time before being busted. Once the timer runs out, you will have to run for your life from the police, who have no qualms about committing police brutality. Additional points are awarded for doing tricks while being pursued, but the switch to second-person camera angle makes doing this even more difficult. I honestly think this is the best feature of the game. It separates itself from any other skating game even further, and is a nod to the very real struggle of law enforcement and skateboarders. Anyone who remembers the phrase, "skateboarding is not a crime," knows exactly where I'm coming from. The cops in the game serve as comic relief with some very hilarious voice acting.
I see one! Here, hold my bear claw. Boy, I said stop!
When you're not on the run from stinking pigs, you will find yourself in the competition levels. You will have a score to beat just like any other level, however when the time runs out and the buzzer sounds, you're done. If you acquired the points needed, you will continue to the next level. If not, you are left with the crippling agony of defeat and must compete again. The game was designed to be challenging, perhaps too challenging for some. A simple button code can be performed by holding L1 and R2 and pressing circle while the game is paused. This will increase your score without breaking a sweat or scratching up that sweet board graphic. This is a game that heavily rewards you with solid gameplay and hours, or in my case, years of entertainment. If you can get past the steep learning curve, that is. Thrasher Presents Skate and Destroy is not a game you can expect to pick up and master immediately. Instead, like actual skateboarding, it will try your patience at best, and at worst it will make you its bitch. It follows in the tradition of skateboarding games like 720 and Skate or Die, where knowing how to play the game is something that is hard-earned and most impressive in the hands of a veteran. So it's come full circle. This phenomenal game had no sequel after being crushed by a franchise that beat it to the punch, but this story does have a happy ending. In 2007, EA Black Box released Skate for Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. The game single-handedly took down the Tony Hawk empire with its realistic skate physics and massive open world. The EA earnings report in 2008 showed that EA's Skate had outsold Tony Hawk's Proving Ground at a ratio of 2-1. And while this is not Skate and Destroy's sequel, Thrasher Magazine, as well as its competitor, the Skateboard Mag, both threw support behind the game to make it the most true-to-life skating game ever to exist. And it was, at least until January of 2009 when its sequel, Skate 2, was released less than 2 years later. It was a devastating blow to the Tony Hawk franchise, which at this point had become nothing more than an annual cash grab by Activision, business as usual. Black Box followed up its sequel with the third entry in the series, Skate 3, in 2010. Some, like myself, would consider EA's Skate to be the spiritual successor to Skate and Destroy. It even keeps some of the same elements that set Skate and Destroy apart from skating games on the PlayStation. Skate's spin-off series, Skate It for the Wii, even looks how a sequel to Skate and Destroy would look if it existed. Hell, everything in the game has already been destroyed.
Man, this place is completely destroyed.
Perhaps I'm a fool. Perhaps I'm nostalgic. Perhaps both. Regardless, Skate and Destroy's influence can be felt very strongly when playing Black Box's skate games. So if nothing else, the game went on to inspire future game designers, and its impact will be felt hard 2 generations later. Thrasher Skate and Destroy's legacy lives on, in every Grom that decides to pick up a skateboard for the first time, in the heart of every old-timer that still pads up and stretches before a gnarly sesh. Much like hip-hop and the ascension of street skating, skateboarding games are here to stay. What will the future of skating games hold? Virtual reality, an imaginary world where every ledge is waxed and the streets are paved smoothly, a world where security and police have better things to do than to worry about skateboarding. Such a world does exist, and it's right outside your door. After all, there's nothing like the real thing. Hey everyone, I'd like to thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video on Thrasher Presents Skate and Destroy. I really appreciate it. Thrasher has been one of my favorite skateboarding games for the PlayStation and one of my favorite games of all time, so thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share my thoughts and opinions on the game. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe. If not, let me know in the comment section what I can do better next time. Please keep an eye out as I do plan on getting more of these videos out very soon. And if you would like to see more skateboard related stuff with me, Old School Ben, please check out Foot Soldier Official. That's my skateboarding channel. We're going to be posting a full-length skateboard video that took us 5 years to film, so definitely check that out. Lastly, I would like to thank RedAce Productions for allowing me to use his instrumental in my intro. Check his channel out as he's got some awesome video game instrumental beats as well as movie reviews and a bunch of other cool videos on his channel, so give him a like, give him a subscribe, definitely give him a high five, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks again for watching.